So back in the beginning, back there, September 11th hit, and that was the first time I really went through anything with my business. I had a great business. It was booming, event planning, logo merchandising. I thought I was unstoppable, for real. Like, I didn't think anybody could talk to. I knew that I was that person. Well, September 11th hit, and man, I didn't know what how stubborn I was. And I have business advisors, and those of you who have business advisors, listen to them because you've asked them to be your advisor. So learn to listen because as an entrepreneur, we get stuck in our head, we get stuck in our way. Nobody can talk to us. We know what's best. So in September 11th hit, everybody shut down. The world of event planning came to a halt. 80% of my business money revenue came from holiday parties, which is in December, which is just 2 or 3 months away from September 11th, all the planning. And, when you lose 80% of your revenue overnight, because all these corporate customers were telling me, oh, we're going to just cancel, we're downsizing, blah, 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 blah. Well, I got hit bad. And so I was still in a good position, but my advisors advised me to shut it down like the rest of the world, just shut it down. And I said, no, you don't understand what's going on. You don't know my market. I'm unique. My business is unique. And so, I'm going to wait it out. I'm confident that the storm is not going to impact my business. And a year later, I had 20 employees, full house, kept them all on payroll. And to find out that business repeats itself, history repeats itself. I was not unique like I thought it was, and end up just going through a lot. I had to refinance my house, ended up losing my house. One of the things that happened, my event company, nobody was planning events, so I was really nervous about doing anything to go after customers because I thought, well, they're not going to come back to use me, so I don't want to get lawyers involved. I'm just going to, it's okay. Well, then the next thing that happened was that I low-key had to go find another job because I was like, I just know what to do because no one was hiring me to do event planning anymore. But there was one thing that the economy downsized all over the world did not really impact as much. The one thing that survived was a branding company. And so where it wasn't giving me the revenue I was used to, because really my branding company was just like I said, it was a means to solve a bigger problem in my event company, right? Because like I said, people were looking for their t-shirts and their stuff for their parties. And I was looking embarrassed because the party's going on and they were asking me for their giveaways, and I'd look at them and say, it's not coming, and I was really embarrassed. So like I said, I had to start this company. Well, what happened was, even though the world was going through so many changes at September 11th, kids and awards were still going on. Kids were still in baseball, softball, volleyball. Kids were still playing sports because they were doing things to keep them active. And so a part of my business was trophies and t-shirts and uniforms. I never focused on that too much, but that was a part of the business. So anyway, this business survived all of that. It survived COVID, jumping forward. Because why? Kids still were in school, they were playing baseball, they were still playing sports. And so, through September 11th, COVID, we really survived it. We went through some really hard times. Didn't know, like I said, I never really had to advertise. So for me, thinking about how to market my business was really still new because I didn't really know what to do. And the referrals weren't really coming in because nobody was coming in, period. So there was no referral. But in any case, you know what? We did survive it. And I had to refocus our energy into different markets and be open-minded about what we're going to do. So we focused on more schools. We got more engagement with leagues. We got more engagement with churches and organizations in the community, and really started just focusing on that. And that's what was a turning point for Logos, etc. And I started looking at what we could do differently. And, I was in technology for many years, over 25 years. I'm a software engineer, and I did a lot of programming. And so one of the things I decided to do was what can we do as a company to better service customers? And so kind of that's why where Logos Etc. is today. But I'm really happy to be able to say that we're very stable, and we have surpassed the drought, because we had a drought for a long time. And yeah. What gets me up every day is my customers, because again, I don't like to be embarrassed and I don't like to disappoint anybody. I'm really like an overachiever, and I'm all about customer service, and I'm customer centric, right? So the thing that gets me up is to make sure that our products are going to be delivered in a quality way. It's going to look the best. It's going to be presented the best. And there's some days, most days I'm up till 2 o'clock in the morning just to make sure that we're going to be ready for the next morning, because we're really, really busy. So yeah, and just knowing that my customers are going to be at that door, like asking for their stuff, and I don't want any surprises. So that's what really gets me up, is to make sure that we're going to be able to deliver a product. And when you have a company, sometimes as the boss, you're not going to know who's going to call in sick, and it could be a production person, and then so I just have to make sure that I'm going to be here and handle everything that we have to handle. So yeah, no matter what, some days I'm really tired, but if we're going to make a commitment, if I made a commitment, my customers can make sure, and they'll know. If Christine said we're going to do it, we're going to do it. There you go. And I always tell them, don't worry until I tell you have to worry. That's my motto. If I tell you to worry, then if I call you and say we need another plan, then no, we really need another plan. But in most cases, I don't. But if I make that call, then you know what? People, I don't know that people understand the printing business in general. Like, to print on a t-shirt is very different than to print on a water bottle. To print on a cap is very different than to print on a beanie, which is another type of a cap, right? So you have baseball caps, you have beanies. To print on a binder or to print on a name tag. So we are a master decorator. That's what people would call us. People come in here and say, what do you do? And we say we are the branding experts. So like, there are outlets that say they just print on t-shirts. They're a t-shirt printing company. They don't do anything else. There's companies that do embroidery. They're an embroidery company. They don't do anything else but embroider, right? So they're experts in that field. There are people who do coffee mugs. Our company, we are a full house decorating company. So we do embroidery, we do screen printing, we do direct-to-garment, we do rhinestone design, we do vinyl, we do sublimation. So all of these are things that we do, and we do it really quickly. So, and each one requires an expertise. And you know what? I never went to school for any of it. It was through the hard school in Knox. That's how I had to learn all this. Because like I said, my degree's in engineering. So they weren't talking about graphic design. And I remember something simple. Like, I printed 100 t-shirts one time when I first got started. And it wasn't with the Cricut, because they didn't have a Cricut in that day. It was just like trying to vinyl it. And I thought that I knew what I was doing. So I made one and it came out good. So I proceeded to get ready to do the 100. And when I did the 100, I printed the vinyl wrong. So when I started taking the vinyl off, again, I think I know what I'm doing. And they were all backwards. And I don't know, I think I was on automatic pilot and I printed them all. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh, there's something weird about this logo. It doesn't look right. And I'm like, oh my God. It's on backwards. So you got to pay attention to the process you're using to make sure you print your items right. And then you have to do a double take to make sure, because sometimes, you just start printing like crazy. You're printing this, you're printing that, and you just kind of lose sight. So, that's something really crazy that can happen in this business very easily, especially when you're doing a lot of different types, right? Again, one of them needs temperature of 300, one of them needs to cure at 325, one needs to cure at 265 if you're printing books. So I like that part of the business. That part of the business is that entrepreneurial spirit. I like a challenge. I like people to come in here and say, hey, can you print on my Nike sneakers? And that takes a lot of guts to say, number one, I'm going to take your Nike sneakers and I'm not going to mess them up. And yes, I can print on them. You get kind of hesitant sometimes because people want you to do some stuff and you're just not sure whether you're really going to come through. But I like a challenge. So most of the time I say, yeah, let's go for it. And that's the part of the business I really like. And that's what makes me get up in the morning, is making sure I can take care of my clients. And I get to learn. Every day I'm learning something new. Every single day I learn something unique. And I challenge my team to do the same. I teach them every day. It's about coming in, seeing what knowledge I can impart on them, and them sharing me. So I tell everyone my team keeps me young because they come at me with some new stuff, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay, let's try that. I'm down. Let's go. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a fun business. Yeah, on the day to day, I do. I feel like for me, I look forward to coming into my business and really being able to help others grow because I feel like people make your company what it is. And so if I can make my people great or greater and make sure that they're getting the knowledge and having fun too, then that's just really important to me. It's really helping them be the best that they can be and making sure that they're having fun and not having to live by all these rules, because having a job with all the rules and you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't be creative, you can't try that, it's no fun. I mean, I'll even let my team, I know it's not going to come out right, but they, want to try something, and I'm going to say, okay, go ahead, and I will try to tell them, well, I don't think it's going to work, but maybe you know something different that I don't know, so why don't you try it? And I know for sure something's not going to work, but as long as they're not going to hurt themselves, I'm going to let them try it. And I like watching them. I like seeing them be happy and excited about what they're learning to the point where they just really want to go tell their friends. And so one of the things that I make my employees do is that they all have to have their own website. They have their own web store to sell their own merch. They have to create their own brand. And I make them do that, and they like it, and they're very happy. And, they enjoy that they get to share something that they're making, for themselves. But I really like doing that. That's fun. And I like, some days it's really hectic here, because we have to beat the clock because, of course, we have to ship. And it gets a little crazy, especially around, 4:30. And, you have shipments to get out by 5 o'clock. But what really makes it great is when you can walk in knowing that you don't have too many days where you miss the boat, right? But luckily, if I do miss that 5 o'clock deadline for my UPS, I have a really great driver who I can work with, and sometimes he's nice enough to come back and get my pickup. So I'm really happy about that. So again, long-term relationships go a long way. It's most recently, I did this hoodie for a client, and it was a school who's studying and teaching kids how to be entrepreneurs and run their business. And they gave me this drawing, a sketch of what they wanted to make. It was a hoodie with the words coming to the over the sleeves and stuff. And I looked at that and I was like, what? I don't know, like how we're gonna do that for real. I really didn't know how we were gonna do it. And but I said, okay, I'm gonna make a proof. I'm gonna do a proof for you because I like to make proofs so the customers know what they're getting. And even if I don't charge for a proof, I like to make sure they know what they're getting. I don't like surprises, so I like to make them one first, especially if it's like a jacket where like they want the words to come from the back, right? And so you can't really screen print that. And so that was a really exciting project because I really didn't know how I was going to attack it. I mean, I knew how I was going to attack like maybe 30% of the project, but when it comes to the whole project, I just didn't know what I was going to do. And I was able to, I went to Home Depot because I had to buy a widget, and because I didn't know how I was going to put the logo on the sleeve, so half of it printed on the back and half of it printed on the front. And then I had to get another widget for the legs because they wanted a sweatsuit outfit, and the legs have a seam. And so we wanted to use one of our DTF processes, which means it's a film, not a screen print where it's going to sink in. So we did a film, and I had to go, again, make a widget. We call the widgets, in case you don't know. A widget is something that allows you to enhance the process when you're trying to print or make something, right? So we customize this piece. Well, anyway, we did that, and we made this widget for the pants and the top, and it turned out really amazing. It really did. And I had to say so myself. And then my other clients started wanting to come in when they saw the merch. They would ask, can I do that logo on their stuff? So that also allowed me to get more orders. But I love that hoodie and sweatpant combination. And I don't get very excited about doing too many things because I've done so many different things already, but that was one thing that most recently I really got excited about. And we figured out how to do it. It took me about 4 or 5 tries, but we did it. It was cool.